Yeah, please. What is going on? Ooh. What is going on, everyone?
All my stuff.
Yes, you do. What's going on, Dutch?
Oh,
How you been?
Dutch. It's been a minute since we've seen you.
How you been over there down under?
Didn't we see him recently? We watched something, and I was like, "Oh, there's Dutch."
Yeah, I forget who is. Oh, we were watching Jess's one her premiere.
Something with Jess, the premiere. We saw you in Jess's premiere, and I was like, "Oh, there's Dutch." But we haven't done we haven't done stuff like this very much.
Yeah, we're going back to it again. We're going, for those that's going to be watching on the replay, just coming in, we're going to be start back going to the first Saturday of each month. We're thinking about this time slot, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Depending on how things go, we know that with this busy season coming up, even us being busy, it's a perfect time. We were thinking about 7, but then it will be getting close to, if we started at 7, we'll end it at 8. We try to keep it around the hour time frame.
We need to be able to end this and still have
time
daylight,
to do
our chores,
to do our evening chores, yes, and stuff like that. Putting the animals up, doing the last feed, and checking on them and things of that nature. So, so far right now, we're guaranteed at least first Saturday of each month. Right now, tentatively 5 p.m. Central Standard Time.
I am hoping, because our next live will be right after I come back from a week in Hawaii. Okay. So I need anybody that is in Hawaii or knows anybody that farms in Hawaii to make comments about a farm I need to visit while I'm there. Maricela, hi! I love her. Like, I used to work with her before we were married.
Okay.
And I left my ex-husband. So, like, she has been through it with me as a coworker for over a decade.
Okay. So. That said, he saw our last garden tour. We will be actually doing another one here shortly. I don't know what happened with the last garden tour.
He did it by himself. I told him we needed to do that together.
I've been doing a lot of these videos by myself. So
I work now. Thank you.
I've been working now, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Try that with somebody else.
I work from home and I travel.
Yeah, I travel at least 5 hours a day. Yeah.
That's my choice.
Trust me, 364 days from now, it will be a definite choice. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you should look now. The best time to look for another job is while you're employed.
I don't have to look for another job after 364 days from that.
Okay.
Okay. You be that breadwinner. You be all focused on you. Won't be no more of me. Yeah. Doing everything. After editing, take a look. It's okay. Yeah, it was fine throughout the editing, and then once I uploaded and it went to YouTube, it was a lot of breaks and overtime. I don't know what happened, but
I have an opinion.
And they're just like buttholes. Everybody has them, and they all smell.
And my husband is that times 2.
The smartest man you ever knew? Okay.
I never said that.
You should say that.
I work with doctors all the time.
And I'm smarter than them. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
You're so cute.
Good.
So I would say that it was a long video that he probably didn't sit through and review.
I've been doing all these videos by myself since June of last year, so it don't matter.
Okay, so it was you.
It probably was.
No matter what.
Yeah,
No matter what, it was you.
It's all me anyway. Yeah. I'm gonna keep on talking. We can keep on talking.
Okay.
Anywho, hey, how are you, Homestead? For those that are watching on the replay, comment to let us know where are you currently gardening in. Today's topic is we're going to kind of go over garden myths busts that you kind of hear a lot of folklore or garden myths about you should do this, you should do that. However, we've been debunking those myths for the last 3 years, and we're kind of going over those items to kind of basically say you got to do your own research. You got to see what works for you, because maybe it is true, maybe it worked back then, but it don't work now. Who knows? But just kind of go through your own research.
And I will say that, like, back then, people didn't do as much container gardening. And when we started our channel, it really was about getting people educated and on board of growing in small spaces. We started in a very small backyard garden. We started a lot of container gardening before we moved out to like where we are now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have had more success in grounds after doing some no-till garden methods in the past 3 years. But everything does have a benefit. Like, even when we're container gardening, like, it depends on what you're like growing in that.
Yeah. Star, welcome. Hey, long time no talk. Bro, what's going on?
Oh goodness, we gonna talk about watermelons, aren't we?
What do you mean?
That's
not a racial comment you just said.
Oh, you being racial because you said I'm being racial about talking about watermelons.
Anyway,
that was you. Okay, that was him.
What is going on, bro? What is going on, everyone? So I think we got enough people coming in, so let's go ahead and go through our first one. Look at though. So the first one we're going to talk about is what everybody probably has experienced is with clay soil. Now, a while back there was an old saying that you can add sand to add to clay soil to kind of make it more drainable for your soil for the water to pass through. That is nothing of the truth whatsoever, because adding sand to already clay soil, this will make it almost basically like concrete. What you need to do if you do have soil is to add a lot of organic matter. You can do compost, you can do mulch, you can do even some cover crops, add different cover crops, or even long vegetables that have like long tap roots, like parsnips, carrots, different
carrots
things.
Are challenging if you're a beginner.
Yes, they are. They are challenging, even for experienced.
I'm experienced, and I'm still experimenting, and it's challenging.
Yeah, but for clay soil, for me, in my opinion, when we were out in the Dallas area, we had one particular area that was very saturated, very clayey soil, and we just basically mulched it. And just when we were about to go into our third year in that area, we was growing tomatoes and stuff like that. It was starting to be more productive, but we sold that place, and now here in the North Texas area. So,
let me see. Star. Yeah.
Star said, "I'm doing garden beds this year. Everything is small. Anything advice."
It starts with wait. Small. What do you mean by that? Are you talking about like your bed size? Like, what is your bed size? Because your bed size times how many, we can give you advice on what you're like you should be growing for your goals, right?
Something like that. The which she's probably thinking is her produce is growing small. Your first year, if you're growing into your garden beds, or even sometimes with containers, they're going to start off with being very small, not very productive. You're going to have your main thing with any type of produce is going to be with your soil. If you get your soil right, your produce will get right. When we were in our urban backyard garden in Dallas, I did 4 types of bed. One, just a regular compost bed, a worm casting bed, or I should say worm tower bed, a hugelkultur bed, and what was the other? There was 4 types of bed: regular bed, compost bed, worm tower, and a hugelkultur bed. And the worm tower bed was the most productive out of the first year because it was true rich organic matter. What I basically did is I took a 4-inch, you could do a 6-inch PVC pipe, and put about several holes about the size, I would say 1/2 inch up to about 3/4 inch holes all through that pipe, and bury it into your garden beds and whatnot, and just throw your waste in there. And then every time you throw your waste in, throw in some type of carbon or some more soil on top of that, add water into there, and it basically fills that bed out. It will basically introduce worms into that bed, because worm will be attracted, and other composting bugs will be attracted to that area where you put your waste at, your green waste at, and will be pooping and doing their waste into there. And that was our most productive bed. I did a pH test on that, and also a P&K test on that, and it was above all of the other 3 beds.
I'm glad that Judge asked Star the question of how much water she's giving her beds. The very last, because she was saying that the soil test showed everything was okay, but it looks like her plants aren't growing. So I'm wondering what fertilizing you're implementing with your growth.
Well, not just fertilizer, because even Bro even talked about this in one of his videos. It doesn't matter what fertilizer you use, because they're all the same, whether you use citrus, fruit trees, tomato, garden tone, all that. They all have the same organic matter. Some might have a little bit more of something of the other, but they're all the same. The only thing that will be changed in that is the salt content, and like I said, the NPK on it, but everything else is the same. So you got to make sure you're going with what are you fertilizing with, and how often are you fertilizing with, how much watering, which we're going to also be talking a little bit more about this later on. How much watering are you giving your plants? Some people, when you're first time gardening, they do 2 bad mistakes with water. They either overwater or underwater. Even with experienced gardeners, we kind of get that a little bit too much, especially here. I'm not even sure where you're at. Here in North Texas on 8A, start actually about the middle of July up to the end of August, it gets triple digits.
I count like if I'm hand watering, like a 45-second count in the hottest time of the day for each plant, like every third day.
Yeah. Yes, Star. We do have a few videos about dealing with vermicasting. We got a whole playlist about that. So
yeah, we have a playlist for that. Check it out on our playlist.
Another thing that you could do now with clay soil, clay soil get a bad rap. Actually, clay soil is probably the best nutrient soil that you have
in our experience.
But it just holds so much water, so you get root bound. It just messes up the roots and stuff.
You only have to really prepare in clay soil for like 2 months of doing a lot of extra stuff, and that's towards the end of summer, right? Or midsummer to like almost fall.
See, look at Broke. He's an experienced gardener. He overwaters. Sometimes we overwater as well.
I'm the overwaterer of the two of us.
So I mean, it all depends, and we're going to be doing video later about that. So you do a liquid fertilizer. What do you do a liquid fertilizer of? Some liquid fertilizers, like if you're doing fish emulsion, they have a high component of nitrogen, but not phosphorus and potassium. And then you also got to think about trace minerals. A lot of people mess up with not giving their plants, their soil, trace minerals to feed their soil. So if you're not feeding your soil, I would start with a worm tea or a compost tea, if anything. And if you don't have that, go with the 5-on-1 fish emulsion tea.
We actually need to do that because like I'm very upset with my cucumbers right now.
Star said I did not want to kill by overdoing it. You're sometimes even us experienced gardeners, we overthink it.
Experienced gardeners fail.
Yeah, it's
okay.
I always tell folks, practice makes experience. So take what you're learning and figure it, documentate it, everything. If you're doing, you're like you said, you're doing liquid fertilizer. I would do granular fertilizers, because granular fertilizers slowly break down to feed the soil, and the good bacteria, the fungi, all the nematodes, all that will feed off of that granular fertilizer as it's breaking down, and then they will be able to bring it, do their waste and back to the soil. That plants will be able to take it up, the nutrients. Liquid fertilizer is more of a fast reaction, so you kind of want to do
liquid fertilizer. I feel is more beneficial during the drier part of the year, and the dry stuff. Like I didn't tell you, I took yesterday, and the Dr. Earth fertilizer we have, I took like a handful and I put it on all of our tomatoes, all of our pepper plants, all of our watermelon plants. I didn't tell you. But we've been having a lot of rain. So during your rain season, I feel it's the best time to use your dry like fertilizers. And then and then during your dry season is the best time to do like what you're saying, like your more of a liquid stuff.
Yeah. Another way to help if you do have clay soil is a lot of people don't do is the gypsum. Adding gypsum to your soil, that's going to help break down the molecules.
You're so cute.
Whatever, and allows them to separate to allow the drainage.
Thank you.
Get away. The next thing is what we were just talking about is watering. For beginners, you'll probably hear people don't water from above because you're going to sun scorch the leaves and all that other stuff. We've been doing it because sometimes that's the quickest way for us to drench our plants and our soil. However, we do have, even though it is North Texas, we do get triple digit weather. We get a light breeze. So most of the time that we'll do it early in the morning. And then by mid-noon, it is already completely dry anyway. And we also have a shade cloth over our garden, which usually, we kind of need
in like 2 weeks. So we usually mid-June put a 60% shade cloth for our growing zone, and that stays up until almost
It's about like the
mid-September.
Yeah, about the beginning to mid-September. We'll keep a shade cloth on because
it's the 60%. Like, and when I go out there, like, I don't mind going out, and I'm a weed puller by nature, but I don't mind doing extra when that shade cloth's up.
Yeah, and we'll do a deep watering of our plants anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, and there's no particular how much times that we'll water. We'll basically, as an experienced gardener, or as you start to garden, you'll start to pay attention to your leaves of your plants and stuff like that, because sometimes your tomato plants will curl, and it's finicky with tomatoes because they'll curl when they need water, and they'll curl when they have too much water. So you have to be mindful of that. Peppers, especially hot peppers, they're very drought tolerant, so they're more forgiving. Leafy vegetables, they have shallow roots, so you don't have to water them as much. It's just the tomatoes. You want to do a deep watering to allow that roots to penetrate as far deep into the soil, so that way you don't have to water as much.
You're looking at me because
I thought you were going to say something else.
No, I am because, like, we know stuff, but time is a whole other thing, and we are failing in some of our categories of, like, peppers because we haven't had enough time. And our weather has been weird, and we've had more rain than usual, and like, that's a whole other factor. You can know a lot of stuff in gardening, and your weather can be weird.
Yeah, and then sometimes time just gets away from you. I mean, we got peppers now that's ready to be transplanted into the some containers. We just haven't had time to
or we have to divide our time in between the garden and the animals, because we have meat we're growing.
Star says they're growing pumpkins in the ground. We got to get some of our we have to get some of our pumpkins in the ground as well, and
I have pumpkins in the ground.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In that one back corner.
It's an experiment. Yeah.
But I need to get some more pumpkins. What pumpkins are those?
Well, so part of what we are doing, like, I got some pigs. It's our grow out. And part of what my plan is, because tomorrow we're moving some pigs. They've been rooting. It's a very moist area. I'm going to spread a lot of, like, watermelon and pumpkin seeds in that area, and hopefully, like, there will just be like follow us. I definitely will update this. There is gonna be like some wild growth going on.
Yeah, so we're doing a lot of rotational regenerative gardening and farming, so we'll see how that plays out. The next one is Epsom salt with tomatoes. There's a lot of myths where if you add Epsom salt to your tomato plants, it will make them sweeter and juicier, things of that nature. Don't believe that. Don't believe the hype.
That's not been our experience.
Yeah. What makes a tomato juicier and sweeter and less acidic, if that's what you choose for, is the type of tomato variety that you select
for your growing area.
Yeah. And then also when you pick those tomatoes, because if you pick them during the heat, the tomatoes are probably the only, besides hot peppers, that you want to pick during the hottest time of the day, because that's when the photosynthesis of the sun stores up into that tomato and stores all that fat juices and makes it nice and plump. That's the best time to do it. Right before a heavy rain, if your tomatoes are already blushing, go ahead and pick those tomatoes, because too much water would cause them to split. But Epsom salt, the only thing good for Epsom salt for your garden is to add a lot of magnesium and sulfur. If you do a soil test on your garden and you see that you're low on those two items, then that will be the best thing to add. Well, one of the best things to add if your soil is missing those nutrients.
And our ultimate goal is to get to a point organically. Like right now we're learning where we're like deficient at different parts of the year. We really like the Redmond soil test kit. We have an affiliate link. It's always in our descriptions below. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. It's a little bit more in depth than what you can get from your state generally in our experience. But we do it in different growing seasons in different parts because for us, we're not only in a gardening space, but we also have animals. We rotationally graze animals to improve our soil out in our field, which is like part of my I have a little fun. Like now that the pigs are moving, I want to put like some pumpkin seeds out. Like I want to see like how much things I can grow in other areas. It's just a rebel cause actually. But like for me, especially because we've like part of our year, because we're trying to be sustainable and not waste, I will feed them when I have a squash that has been like taken over by insects. I will feed that to the chickens and you know, like whatever animal will eat them. And for us, we're, you know, just as a reminder, we're working within 6.5. Oh, hey, Brian.
Is that better? Is that better?
We're working in 6.5 acres. So we are very mindful. When we came here, we did not grow our channel with people that had like acres like us. So now that we have acres, we do want to bring along and still like share the knowledge we have in small growing spaces. But we also, him and his boyfriend, Brian. But we also want to share that, you know, once you know, like some people like us, we started in a little garden space and we were like, oh, we need to have more space. We want to encourage you to have more. Yeah. We want to encourage you to not just have a garden. If you can have a garden and some animals, that is amazing. We are in the space where we have garden and animals and experimenting, and we're happy to share that.
Yeah. Cool. Some people would talk about fertilizer. I know we were just talking about fertilizers. Last year, I was doing a fertilizer test, and something that we've learned is you have to read the back of that directions or suggestions, recommended thing for
if you can read.
Anyway, and apply a certain amount per container that you're using, because I was just using like a handful, but after reading the recommended amount that you should apply for a particular your embeds, your container and stuff like that, I was under fertilizing a lot of the times with that. However, since I was doing it every 2 weeks with the dry granular fertilizers, and I was doing a liquid worm tea or a rabbit poop tea or compost tea every week, a foliager spray on there, we've always had that. When are you
going to start that again?
Well, since we have a bad I got to get a new trash can, got to get
We got 2 trash cans. One
I
we
know,
ain't
but I
even
gotta
using.
get a trash can.
One we're not even using.
I'm talking. You just asked me a question. Let me talk it. Let me
Okay.
answer it. So I got to get a different trash can that we just had. And then I just got some new worms because the worms that I had due to the last frost, Arctic frost, it basically, I guess they ran away or froze to death, whatever like that. So it starts a whole new process. And then I got compost but I can use some of the rabbit poop to make a tea. So those are the 3 things of the teas that I would make to do a foliager spray every 2 weeks.
And you didn't forget about the worms that we
I just talked about it.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. So he forgot. Like he ordered some worms. And forgot about them. And they were escaping the bag. So if you're gonna order
anyway,
worms, like take care of it within 2 days of receiving.
Anyway, a little bit of misconception about plants needing 6 to 8 hours of sun. Come June, July, August timeframe, it gets extremely way too hot. So be mindful of that. You can allow indirect sun to just your time frame will kind of go from there. Now, for people up in the north, you can do the 6 to 8 hours possibly because the heat, the sun penetration is not going to be probably as hot. I don't know how the sun and the temperature is there, but here in Northeast Texas, after
about what 9 Montana, it didn't seem like
after 9 o'clock it's way too hot here in Texas sometimes. Mm-hmm. So that's when we start, as we were talking about earlier, we introduced the shade cloth. Now that each season our garden expands, we're going to have to get a different shade cloth, or maybe just add another shade cloth over our garden, our current kitchen garden. So we need to start looking for that because June is here. Today is the first day of June. So
my month. What?
I have a worm bin inside. Yeah, so at our last place in Dallas area, we had a worm bin and we kept it inside. The first time we had it, we had, what was it? I forgot what type of worms they were. They were composting worms or red wigglers.
And they were not.
They was escaping like crazy. Now these European night crawlers,
they were escaping like crazy when he forgot that they were like at the front door.
Anyway,
they were all over.
Anyway,
just so you know.
So the European night crawlers, they burrow deeper into the soil. They're not as big as the red wigglers, and they don't eat as much as the red wigglers, but they do compost their weight. And so
for our growing zone, they're good.
Yeah. Crop rotation. A lot of misconception about you have to crop rotate when you're doing in-bed gardening or things of that nature. That's nothing could be furthest from the truth. We need to hear Mrs. opinion. No, we don't. That's over. Her opinion is overrated. She don't know what she really.
You know what? I'm here. I'm here doing this stuff. I'm working now, by the way. Those of you, we both working.
Anyway, I've been working.
You see what I deal with.
Dealing with the stuff. Mm-hmm. She said, I have Star said, I have a worm bin in the house. I just don't know what to do with him. It's a big tub. When do I put it in the garden? So I did have, like I said, I have quite a few videos on vermicasting, on how to harvest your worm casting. You can store it as very long. It goes by very fast if you have a large garden. So I'm going to constantly, hopefully every 90 days, start harvesting our worm casting. So that way, because they have cocoons, they lay eggs. Well, they self-regulate, I should say. Depending on the space, they won't lay as many eggs if they feel they're in a confined space. But if the worms feel like they have a more open space, they will lay more cocoons. They do that every 90 days, and those cocoons hatch out a lot of worms itself.
Yeah, Lady in Red, you sound very, very intelligent. No, the last one.
No, when they say ew worm.
No, the last comment.
We'll delete that one.
No, we're not. No, we not.
So with crop rotations, we have 6 rows beds, and most of the times we keep tomatoes in one areas of the beds, one rows of the beds, peppers in one rows of the beds. We don't rotate
peppers
them.
Separating the sweet from the hot.
So we go
we do
tomato, pepper, tomato, pepper, tomato, and we don't change that up. And our soil has been steadily increasing.
And we keep sweet peppers in one row, hot peppers like down. Like we try to separate that.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Miss Linda, how are you doing? Thanks for stopping by.
You guys need to check her out. She has a great channel in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Our growing zone.
Well, she's 8.
Well, I know she's not far from us, though.
Yeah. Another thing that most people have a misunderstanding about, if you have a vining fruit or a fruiting plant, that they think that a female plant produces more fruit. However, the fruit that produces the fruit is actually a female plant. The male plant, when the pollinators go from the male plant, pollinates the female plant. So if your fruit of your plant is not fruiting as much as what you thought, maybe you have a pollination issue, which is something that we resolve. Well, I wouldn't say resolve, but we kind of increase this year by adding more flowers to increase the pollinators into our garden. So we got different variety of flowers. We even got pest deterrent flowers like the marigolds and the echinaceas. We
do a lot of onions also. I would like to know, everybody that's in here, comment down below what space you're growing in.
Oh, you're 9B. Okay. Is that from the new change, Miss Linda?
Because we're still like a little slow on our new change.
Yeah, I still just say 8. I don't even say 8A.
He says
or
8A, but we're also like
7B.
Like it's weird. It's so weird.
But
it's changed.
So we're almost at the halfway point. I want to know what type of what garden myths that you heard that you have debunked and don't think it's true, if that you feel that people shouldn't pay attention to. Oh, another thing, this is even off the cuff, is a lot of plants, they say, don't like their roots to be disturbed. Now, Mrs. Nickergarter tested that theory last year with cucumbers and zucchinis and stuff like that.
And I was more successful last year with my cucumbers than I am this year.
Yeah.
And I pickle a lot, and I'm like really upset this year.
Okay. Oh, you always been okay. So you south of New Orleans or Louisiana. Okay. Welcome his herbs hot desert homestead. Appreciate it. Oh, thank you, Star. I love watching you guys. You get him, Mrs. Keep him on line.
Just so y'all know.
Anyway.
Oh.
So what are some of y'all myths that y'all have debunked in the past or have a fear of trying out because of you were told not to do? And then we'll keep on going with these. Another one is old seeds.
Not germinating.
Old seeds.
Like people say, like there's do any of you experiment with that? Because I know that we do.
Yeah. Now, old seeds will germinate. However, the older the seed is, depending on how you store them, how you keep them and everything, will decrease in time. But if you keep them in a well storage, however the box tell you to, the package of seeds tells you to store them, they will germinate. Sometimes they take a little bit longer, but they will germinate. Brooke said a blossom end rot is water deficiency, not calcium deficiency. Correct. That is one of the most falsest things.
We agree with that.
Yeah, because the last 3 years, like I said, every year we do a soil test, and every now and then, like I said, we're not perfect with our watering schedule. Sometimes some of our tomatoes and our peppers, they get that little nasty little thing at the end of where the blossom was.
But I think it's important for people to know that people with experience that know what they're doing and have a full-on job and doing all the things, we still fail. Like, we know better and still have issues. So I think that this is important for people to know that we struggle doing it the right way, that we know how to do.
Yeah. What's going on, Chris and Cheryl? How's the weather down there in deep Houston area?
I know it's humid.
Because it was humid this morning. We were saturated this morning doing our chores.
And we like almost Oklahoma, Texas.
Yeah. What's another? Companion planting. They say companion plant always work. Nothing is always going to be 100%.
It has been, I feel, a secret ingredient to our success in the past 2 years.
Yeah, it will help deter pests. We just tried the onions with our squash, and I found last week some squash bugs. So I was like, oh well. So I'm gonna try to plant.
I just found some squash bugs, like trying to get it on, and I like squashed them while they were bleeding. I was like, you ain't gonna enjoy my fruit. You gonna mess up my fruit. You are not gonna climax. Like, I squashed them.
She's a wet dream crusher.
I don't care. They were messing up my squash.
But I'm going to try to plant some marigolds in there. Maybe that might deter them. Normally, we try to plant squash in June time start season in June time frame. So that way, by that time, the cycle of the squash vine borers and the squash bugs have ended. And then we'll transplant them out in August. Or if you really, really want some squash, whatever, try to get a hybrid. I know people are kind of iffy or on the fence about hybrids or totally against hybrids, but some of the hybrids of the squash plants are resilient against squash vine borers and squash bugs. You were planting the Tromboncino
replicante, but like after a few years, they're a lot more resistant. Like when it comes down to flavor, cooking, and all of that, I really do prefer the spaghetti squash. There's certain squashes that I prefer. There's a Puerto Rican one that like I feel. Last year I can't remember the name. We have a few videos of me doing them. But their flavor was so full that like it replaces the zucchini rampicante for me with the same kind of resistant qualities. It's almost like a pumpkin.
Yeah, it's a sweeter it is a sweeter winter squash. Now, you'll hear, for beginner gardeners, you'll hear a summer squash and winter squash. Summer squashes have a thinner cell wall. There's going to be like your zucchini, your squash, your regular yellow squash and stuff like that. Your winter squash is going to be like your acorn squash. This
is the last two from last year left over that I'm about to like.
That's kind of awkward.
But one of our viewers sent us the seeds, and it's perfect for our growing zone.
And they are sweet.
So sweet.
Yeah, they're like a butternut squash, but sweeter. Yeah, but they are so delicious. She has canned those and use them in some soups during the winter months and stuff like that. But winter squash, they store very well, and you can basically just they're good. I mean, we still have some squash, the trombone rapicante from two years ago. So, uh, speaking of what Broke was just talking about with the BER, the blossom end rot, some people will, once they see their tomatoes or plants have, they feel that is, well, it actually is, but they think it's a calcium deficiency, but it's just basically a your watering technique. Your watering method is wrong. They'll try to add some Tums and other things to add like calcium and other things into the soil, but all you have to really do is control your watering. Do a deep watering of your plants. Most of the times, your soil needs at least 1.5 inches of watering each week. I would add an extra inch every 10 degrees that it is above 85. So if you're averaging a 95 degree or higher temp, do 2.5. Make sure you do a 2.5 inch deep water. And if it gets you triple digit, go 3.5, because that's just basically going to help your soil out. Don't try to do intermittent watering. Do like 15 minutes a day here, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening. That's not going to do. You're just going to piss your roots off of your plant. You don't need that. This is for my boy. I fell in love with the Kush call last year. Broke said he fell in love with the Kushaw last year.
Oh.
His and Herb's High Desert Homestead. I'll have to look at. I forgot the name of that squash.
Damn it! I'll start looking.
As you can see, we got the seeds right there. All our seeds are right there in those containers.
But it's a Puerto Rican.
Yeah, you don't want to piss your roots off. This is for my boy Brian. When we got our mulch, he was like, "Oh, those things gonna get termites. You gonna get termite." So mulch does not invite termites. Termites like undisturbed wood. Even carpenter ants, they like undisturbed wood. So you don't have to worry about if you bring mulch over into your garden beds. We mostly use our mulch for our walkways. We were using that, cypress mulch, anti-float mulch and stuff like that. But what I've noticed with that cypress mulch, it breaks down super fast. We just put some out at the beginning of this year, and it's broken down so much. Most people, they like to use that plastic. If that's your thing, go for it. But with us, I'm all about improving our soil. I don't feel like that plastic is going to help improve your soil. That mulch will, because as it breaks down, you have your worms and biodegradable insects that could feast on everything. And wherever they poop at, your plants will be able to take up that nutrients, that good bacteria, the good fungi, the nematodes, all that will be able to take up that to give it off to your plant's roots, and that roots will be able to take up calabaza. That's the name of the
calabaza squash is what I just brought in here, and it has that very, very. I know he was talking about some stuff, but I was like calabaza. And we actually have a customer that her husband is a truck driver that drives by here. They were super excited to find out that we were growing the calabaza. It's very rare for anybody in the United States in this area to grow it. But it has preserved. You saw the 2 I brought in was the last 2 that I have. And they make an amazing soup with depth of flavor. I make bone broth very regularly, at least once a month. And I will can it in a preservation mode. with some broth.
Yeah. The excuse me. The mulch is I feel like the mulch definitely helps out with the walkways. However, I think I'm going to use the pine bark because it seemed like those pine barks don't decompose as fast as the cypress. So we might do the pine bark in the walkways and do either straw or hay or the cypress in the beds. What you think about that?
I didn't catch all of it.
Okay,
so.
good.
Anywho, my mind was on the squash. I was like, what is the name of the squash?
So yeah, those are some of the things that we thought of that we just was hearing about. Takes a little bit pressure off of your first time gardeners because a lot of first time gardeners, they get overwhelmed with all the things to do and not to do and stuff like that. Just try it out. You're gonna learn.
I feel like it's really important to throw I'm gonna cuss, like shit against the wall. Like just throw it against the wall, like try it. And like see what works for you in your growing zone. And if it worked in one growing period at time of the year, just know we're living in a crazy world with crazy weather. It might not be the same the next year, and that's what we're experimenting with now. But as soon as you find something that does really work in your ideal temps, like take a note of that.
My man Broke said he used cypress mulch to build the stove for most of his garden around fruit trees. Broke, if y'all want to learn about fruit trees, go to Broke's channel. This dude got like more.
I'm jealous. I am jealous.
This dude got more fruit trees than the nursery has.
And way less property than us.
On one acre, growing like umpteen amount of citrus plant. He just did a video.
I would probably be a broke farmer if I didn't have a few more acres and animals.
He got so many fig trees. He got so many. He just got like 5 or 6 more fruit trees I have never even heard of. I'm like, this dude's like the Willy Wonka of fruit trees.
Yeah, but I will say that we are like farmers also, and the animals that we actually have, lambs and like pigs and different animals were like have them to where it's in the rabbits, we can put them directly into like we're cold composting their manure going into our garden.
Yeah. And another person got a lot of fruit trees is Miss Linda, but as she said, she's in zone 9, so she can grow anything. She got plantains, bananas.
I am jealous about bananas.
And she also has a lot of fig trees. She's grown pomegranates.
So, Miss Linda, if we go to like Louisiana, are you gonna host us? Because I need to see.
She just did some cuttings of some tree that she gave.
You gonna host us and let us get some cuttings? Like I
want some of those cuttings from Chris and Cheryl's peach tree. They just did a whole I wouldn't say a harvest, but they did kind of lighten the load of the peach trees. I have pumpkin seeds my mom sent from the Caribbeans. I can't plant them due to lack of space. I'm not sure what's.
Send them to me.
So Tara,
I will try it for you.
So Tara, you can actually grow pumpkins. I know you probably feel that you don't have the space for, but what's the worst thing what will happen if you grow them in a container? Now, definitely with plants like that.
Send the rest to me.
I would go ahead and just try them in like
a
7-gallon container and just fertilize it. Now with squashes and pumpkins, they are heavy feeders. So I'm not even sure what area what state that you are in, but mulch it and then just feed it with some granular feed about every 2 weeks. And I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? You grow a vine, you might grow some small fruit. You still get a fruit, right? Go ahead and try it. A lot of first time gardeners, we get bogged down about, oh, I don't have this much space. Just try it. Let that space, as Jess from Roots of Reference said, let that space that you're in right now be your waiting room. To that way, once you able to learn the things ins and out, because let's say a year from now you get blessed with a property. Now you got to learn how to do this and this and this. Go ahead and learn right now what you're growing in. So that way, once you get to your space, you be like, oh, I got this, dog. I got this.
So that really does, like you saying that makes me think that it is really important to say to people that if you are not in your permanent space, this is the perfect time to make experiments. Like, even if it's directly into something you're not even using the fertilizers that we're talking about, or anything. Like, this is an important time in your little growing space to figure out, are you going to do, like, if you want to control the growing environment, you're going to do, like the pots, like the controlled pots, like fabric pots, probably. But this is a good time to, like, figure out what you're doing in your space. This is a perfect time to experiment.
Yeah, just use this space as your, like I said, your waiting room. Because,
and do not think that just because you started growing that you're gonna just like, oh, I'm gonna feed my family. No, you're gonna fail. Okay, you're gonna fail right when you start. No, like, okay. Right when you start, you're gonna fail.
Possibly, like, who knows? You might get a good luck, but don't be scared to fail. That's the main thing. Maybe that's what she was trying to say. Don't be scared to fail.
Do not be, like, expect you're gonna fail and hope like it might happen.
Yeah. So,
like, with a do.
Just make sure you learn from your mistakes and continue on. Press on. Anywho. I got what you said, yeah. So Tara said she has some volunteer pumpkins that are already invading my garden. I'm in Waco. Okay.
Let
it go. And actually, once
you do the best.
Once the volunteer plants, save those seeds. Because if they thrive volunteer plants, they will be the best seeds for you to save. That way they already survived your growing environment, and you can use those seeds, and they will take off the following year.
Yep.
Star, thank you once again for the super sticker. I appreciate you so much. We appreciate you.
Star has been a supporter for a long time.
Yeah, I gotta go, y'all. Gotta go to work. Thanks for the good advice. Y'all have a good month. Hope to see y'all next month. Definitely.
Thank you.
Yes, we are about to wrap it up as well. We will be doing another live next month, July. Oh, that's going to be 4th of July weekend.
Is that the first weekend I come back from Hawaii? I will have some stuff to talk about. Maybe He's so jealous.
Not really.
He's so jealous. Really. My daughter bought me tickets to go to her and visit in Hawaii. Space. She's a tattoo artist in Hawaii.
I don't have a jealous bone in my body about going to Hawaii. I'm
not one.
No, it's not on my bucket list to go to Hawaii.
Then why was your face like that? No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. gotta do all the chores.
Woo, do it anyway. Get away. Anyway, thanks y'all for staying tuned. For those that are watching on the replays, comment and let us know what are some of the things that you feel that are very garden myths, or that you would like to see us to myth bust on those garden myths that you heard that you feel aren't true, or feel how can you debunk them, and we'll do that on a future video. Anything else you have to say?
Yes, Dutch off grid. Hawaii. I am going to Hawaii.
So
like no. My daughter is a tattoo artist in Hawaii. So if you ever go to Hawaii, go get a tattoo from her. What?
So Sage passed away a while back, and we buried him in back in one of our pasture, and put a peach tree on top of him. And we were going to have some peaches, but we had our sheep got in between the cages, and
they got that first one, but it's probably good. Like it was natural, they were it was a little early. Next year is a better year for that peach tree.
But it has a lot of leaves and things of that nature. So,
but sage is the root of it.
Yeah. Another thing before we peace out, because we had some fruit trees. I was trying to be like broke and try to put my fruit trees in our high tunnel, but they didn't survive the Arctic blast. But we have some of the fruit trees going below the root of the tree. And some people said, if it does that, get rid of it, because it's not going to do anything. Once again, it will possibly be a fruit. It might not be the fruit that you wanted, but it will be that fruit. So I'm going to let it grow out. Let's see what happens, But anyway.
And I, on what you said, I encourage everybody, when they have something kind of crazy growing that's new, just see what happens with it. Unless it's within the first 9 weeks of planting it, because it will get in the way of it being more productive. So sometimes you gotta clip it.
What was that?
Sometimes you gotta clip it. When it's I'm serious.
Okay. It's been a blessing. I'm glad y'all took a moment of your time to be with us. We appreciate it. Yes, he was a unuseful cat, but he is surely
his best friend. Best friend.
He is surely missed.
He misses him.
Anyway, so we got to do our evening chores. So we appreciate y'all stopping by and chatting with us. Once again, for those that are tuning in for the replay, comment and let us know what myths that you feel that are not true, or feel that you need for us to debunk. And until then, until the next video, let's grow together.